in a stunning development that has left the Formula One paddock buzzing. Ferrari has officially confirmed they will not bring their highly anticipated SF-25 upgrade package to the Miami Grand Prix, opting instead to delay any performance enhancements until the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix in Imola. This announcement, while initially sounding procedural, has deeper implications, particularly for Lewis Hamilton, who was banking on those upgrades to inject much-needed life into a season that has so far been marred by frustration and underperformance. The Miami weekend, characterized by its sprint format allowing only an hour of practice before qualifying, presented too much risk for Ferrari to validate the upgrades properly, according to Team Principal Fred Vasseur. However, this cautious strategy has left Hamilton stranded with a car he already struggles to control, amplifying concerns that Ferrari's conservative approach may be costing them crucial momentum in a fiercely competitive season. The impact of this decision on Lewis Hamilton's morale and championship hopes cannot be overstated. The seven-time world champion has been grappling with a fundamentally unpredictable F-5 that undermines his natural driving instincts, and he viewed the imminent upgrades as a lifeline. The postponement now forces him to endure yet another grueling race weekend, with a machine that resists his hallmark skills: late braking, precise corner rotation, and smooth throttle modulation, following a bruising Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, where he finished P7 and more than half a minute adrift of teammate Charles Leclerc. Hamilton's sense of urgency has only deepened. His public statements about being in the dark and experiencing nothing but pain encapsulate a growing crisis. And now, with no immediate solutions on the horizon, Ferrari's decision has effectively compounded his troubles at a critical juncture. At the core of Hamilton's difficulties lies a brutal reality. The SF-25's fundamental characteristics are at odds with the very attributes that have defined his greatness, unlike his previous machinery at Mercedes, which complemented his ability to manipulate a car's rotation and maximize exit speeds. Ferrari's 2024 Challenger demands a different approach, one that seems to suit Charles Leclerc far better. Leclerc has demonstrated a growing comfort with the car's dynamic quirks, while Hamilton is left fighting physics at every corner. This incompatibility isn't a mere matter of setup adjustments. It is a profound disconnect between driver and machine that no minor tweak can easily resolve. Without upgrades that specifically address these underlying handling issues, Hamilton is effectively locked in a losing battle, with the performance gap between himself and Leclerc poised to widen even further in the coming races. Ferrari's broader strategic mindset also warrants scrutiny. Team boss Fred Vasseur's emphasis on a race-by-race assessment mirrors the approach the Scuderia adopted in 2023, prioritizing measured development over aggressive innovation. While such prudence can be justified under certain conditions, it also signals a lack of urgency that could be perilous when applied to a driver of Hamilton's caliber and expectations. Leclerc currently sits comfortably in fifth place in the Drivers' Championship with 47 points, securing podiums and maintaining momentum. Meanwhile, Hamilton languishes in seventh place, 16 points adrift, with not a single top 5 finish to his name. By delaying crucial upgrades, Ferrari appears to be consolidating their focus around the proven performer in Leclerc, rather than investing resources into adapting the SF-25 to suit Hamilton's unique requirements, a decision that could have lasting consequences on team dynamics and driver morale. The compressed sprint format in Miami provides some surface justification for Ferrari's delay, but deeper questions emerge when examining the bigger picture. If Ferrari knew that Miami's schedule would limit development opportunities, why was there no contingency plan to introduce upgrades earlier in the season or a phased approach that could help both drivers adapt incrementally? Instead, they are banking on a smooth rollout at Imola, betting heavily on stable weather and seamless integration, a gamble that leaves Hamilton vulnerable for yet another weekend and possibly allows rivals to build an insurmountable advantage. In the ruthless ecosystem of Formula One, strategic hesitation often equates to tactical defeat, and Ferrari's decision-making process now sits under a glaring spotlight. Charles Leclerc's form, meanwhile, paints a stark contrast to Hamilton's struggles. Leclerc has not only adapted to the SF-25's idiosyncrasies, but has managed to consistently extract competitive pace, particularly since the Bahrain Grand Prix, where a revised floor provided incremental but noticeable improvements. His feedback to the team has been largely positive, underscoring that while the car remains a work in progress, it is trending in a direction that favors his driving style. In a sport where psychological momentum is as critical as mechanical performance, Leclerc's ascendancy poses a direct threat to Hamilton's ability to assert influence within the team. Each race where Leclerc scores podiums while Hamilton fights in the midfield reinforces a narrative that Ferrari may be quietly shifting its long-term bet towards the monegasque driver. Inside Ferrari's technical corridors, tensions are reportedly simmering. Sources close to the team suggest that internal debates, particularly involving technical director Enrico Cardile, played a role in the cautious rollout strategy. Cardile had already advocated for delaying the Bahrain upgrade due to unresolved dynamic balance issues, and the subsequent decision to skip Miami upgrades follows this conservative philosophy. While caution has its merits, it clashes sharply with Hamilton's preferred modus operandi of rapid evolution and adaptation. In a high-stakes environment like Formula One, this internal conservatism may well strangle the adaptability Hamilton needs to mount any meaningful resurgence, casting doubt on whether Ferrari's internal culture can truly accommodate the aggressive development philosophy Hamilton thrived under at Mercedes. The looming Emilia Romagna Grand Prix now carries enormous weight for all parties involved. It is no longer just another checkpoint on the calendar. It has become a crucible for Ferrari's entire O2, for development strategy, and for Hamilton's integration into the team. Should the upgrades fail to deliver substantial improvements, or worse, fail to address Hamilton's compatibility issues with the SF-25, the fallout could be severe. Questions about Ferrari's strategic acumen, Hamilton's long-term role within the organization, and the viability of this high-profile partnership will inevitably rise to the forefront, possibly reshaping the landscape of the 2025 driver market and beyond. The risks associated with failure at Imola are not limited to performance metrics alone. They extend deeply into the psychological fabric of the team. Every uncompetitive qualifying session, every race spent stuck in turbulent midfield air, every weekend finishing behind his teammate chips away at Hamilton's formidable psychological armor. For a driver who thrives on confidence and synergy with his machinery, prolonged exposure to this cycle of frustration risks creating a rift not only between Hamilton and his engineers, but also within Ferrari's leadership structure. If left unchecked, such erosion could irreparably damage the chemistry Ferrari so desperately needs to mount a credible title challenge in the coming seasons. In conclusion, Ferrari's decision to delay the SF-25 upgrades has set the stage for one of the most pivotal and emotionally charged moments of the 2024 Formula One season. The stakes at Imola extend far beyond championship points. They encompass trust, direction, and the very future of one of the most celebrated collaborations in recent F1 history, as rivals like Red Bull, McLaren, and even a chaotic Mercedes continue to push the development envelope. Ferrari's gamble on strategic patience versus immediate action could determine whether they ascend back to championship glory or spiral further into mediocrity. For Hamilton, the next chapter is fraught with uncertainty, and the countdown to Imola feels less like a build-up to another race, and more like the beginning of a verdict on whether his audacious switch to the Scuderia was genius or folly.